Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another writing vlog. I had some storms roll in last night. There was some water that got inside the apartment. We had a frog come in somehow, even though all the doors and windows are sealed. Not sure how he got in. Anyway, it's been an interesting morning. It's gonna be a writing vlog, this video. It would be nice to get outside. It's been very rainy and overcast for the last couple of days, but that is the Midwest in April. You can't really do anything about that. So I'm planning my summer trips. That's what I do if I get really bummed out, is I just plan what we're gonna do in summer. And that usually helps me get through the cloudy days. So the latest update on the manuscript is that we are finishing out the outline. I did like a very quick, I'll probably have to blur this, but I did a very quick overview little sketch here on, oh, it goes on the back too. I don't even remember. This is from like a couple days ago. A very rough outline of the things that are going to happen at the very end of the book, because I'm 80% of the way through, I would say, writing the outline. And then I did actually start writing on the manuscript the other day. I kind of wanted to get the vibe for that very first scene, like the opening scene. And so I kind of started playing around with, you know, what's going to be sort of like the opening image, how's the scene going to play out, what kind of dialogue is there going to be, what characters are we going to meet, and so I have that started, so that's exciting, because I hadn't actually started the manuscript officially. I've just been outlining, story mapping, and gathering character inspiration and that kind of thing. By the way, I made like a little mood board kind of thing. I'll put it on the screen so you guys can kind of get an idea of the vibe. It is a dark academic story. I've explained this in a couple of previous writing vlogs, but just in case you're popping into this one and it's like the first one that you're watching, and there is going to be some magic. I don't think I'm going to call it magic. It's not going to be like a magic system, but yes, that's kind of generally what I'm writing. I am actually considering doing kind of a reading at the end of the video. I feel like as writing YouTubers, people who do like write with me's and like writing vlogs, we tend to be very secretive. We're so afraid that like somehow we're gonna say 2 words and the internet is just gonna guess every single plot line. I might actually do a little reading of those first couple of pages that I've drafted up, because first of all, it's a draft. I know it's going to change. Second of all, you're not going to know anything about the storyline. It's not going to reveal anything. You're not giving away any like deep dark secrets of the novel, you know what I mean, in the first like couple pages. So I guess we'll do that at the end. I'm also reading a book that's kind of similar vibes to what I'm writing. I started the Atlas Paradox maybe last week or something. I'm nearly to the end, probably about 75% of the way through. Liking it. It is very similar to the first one, to be honest. So if you didn't like the first one, you're not gonna like this for the same reasons. This has been enjoyable. So if I need a little break from writing, that is what I will be reading. Enough chit chat. Let's get into it.
up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby, and twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist your body and mine. Baby, you give me ice and fire.
Okay, friends, we are pretty much at the end of the video. So, I was actually just kind of fixing up some things that I had left a little bit unfinished on the current draft. I said I would do a little bit of a reading. So if you're interested in that kind of thing and like hearing, I guess, a little bit of my writing style and like kind of how I would open a book, like open the story. This is, again, just draft one. So many things are probably going to change. In fact, I think the names, I think I'm already going to change. And then just like the exact, you know, manner in which things happen or the order in which they happen. You guys know if you write, things can change wildly from one draft to the next. So this is how it stands right now. I've got about like 4 or 5 pages that I'm willing to read. Welcome to chapter 1, I guess, or it could even be like an epilogue. I literally haven't even finished the outline yet. So again, all of this is kind of subject to change. So here we go. The final flames of the night's bonfire spit at Sloane's bare feet, embers evanescing on the warm sand where the traveling show had set up camp for the week. The fire breather had returned to his wagon for the night, leaving the fortune teller alone with her memories. Since the sun had sunk past the Sangre de Cristo mountains, the temperature had dropped. Sloane wrapped her moth-eaten sweater tighter around the gentle hills of her body's landscape, feeling that buzzing in her gut, like the ultrasonic thrumming of a moth's hind wings, signaling to a predator to keep away, the familiar drumbeat of intuition. The triangular shapes of the tents still glowed from within, the faint orange light of the lanterns winking out as the axe closed up shop. Sloane stood in companionable silence with the fire until the only tent that remained was the office tent, the ringmaster's quarters. This was their usual after-show routine. The fire breather took off for a cold shower, contingent on whether or not their current campsite had water hookups, and to tend to any minor burns while she watched the flames fade into nothingness. She preferred being the last to retire in the evenings. It gave her space to convene with nature and all its endless motion, the fire and its lessons, the sky and its messengers, the wind and its whisperings, and especially the soil and its innumerable inhabitants. Tonight, the desert was suspiciously absent of its usual susurrations. She missed the green, the sensation of cool grass beneath shoeless feet, the verdant hills and what dwelled among them. She missed nowhere in particular. Just the endless string of towns along their usual route that didn't resemble a dystopian wasteland. The desert housed far too many dead things, too many days left wanting for rain. She missed the melodies that emanated from the canopies of trees, the humming that coincided with the beating of birds' wings, or the earth-thumping rhythm of hooves against the forest floor. A buzzing in her body roused her from her thoughts, sending crackles of electricity zipping down her arms, making the tiny hairs stand on end. It was the tingle that derived from something much deeper than the plummeting degrees in the atmosphere. Someone or something was approaching her from behind. Sloane cut her gaze over her shoulder, eyes slicing through the black velvet of midnight. At the edge of the encampment, around which the local cacti formed a natural border, a shadow pulled free from the darkness, ossifying into solid form and stepping into the night's last dregs of incandescence. He was a man of about 50, perhaps 55, with streaks of shining silver in his dark hair, and he had a slender build and pointed features that gave him an almost vulpine appearance. His clothing matched his physiognomy. He was sharply dressed in a suit and tie with shoes polished to the point of exclaiming his presence like a punctuation mark, their brilliance in stark contrast to the shabby backdrop of the show's aftermath, with the camp's moth-eaten canvases and the showgoers' litter strewn along the sand. The figure kept a measured pace, approaching her until he was close enough for their oral fields to overlap. To Sloane, it usually felt like nebulous bubbles of energy that pushed subtly against each other, but never burst. This was different, more like a grating sensation of sandpaper against flesh. On a subconscious level, she knew not to be alarmed, but there was something different about him, a blankness where something more substantial should be, like the sudden silence of submergence underwater. Sorry, show's over, Sloane grumbled loud enough to be heard without him coming any closer. I've not come for the show, he said. She detected the lilt of an accent in his words, though they were spare. French, maybe. Up close, Sloane gave him a more scrutinous appraisal. On second thought, his clothing didn't suggest he was here to see a show at all. His was not a jaunt in service of leisure, but rather business. Anyway, that's what I've got so far. I mean, I have more, obviously, but I feel like that's all I'm going to read. It just gives you guys kind of a taste, just an idea of like my writing style and kind of the vibe, I guess, a little bit. It very quickly moves from that setting to somewhere totally different. So she's not there for long. If you guys made it this far, I hope this was entertaining. Even though it was a lot of just like time lapses of me typing, a lot of times that's what helps me if I'm feeling a little bit unproductive or like I just don't want to write. When I watch a video of somebody doing it, just sitting there hammering away at the computer, it gives me kind of the motivation that I need. And so I hope this gave you some inspiration. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.